Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, Hiking in Juneau, where you'll join me while I hike all the beautiful trails here in Juneau. I'm going to be showing you the beautiful landmarks and things that I find along the trail, about how long it takes, the level of difficulty, things like that, so you can know what to expect if you ever want to hike these trails. Today, I'm at the East Glacier Trail here at the Mendenhall Glacier. It's one of the most popular trails because it's so beautiful. And it's actually, I think, the only or one of the only glaciers accessible by road. So you can actually go and see the glacier. It's pretty cool. Anyways, I'm going to be hiking this 3.1 mile trail and just show you what I find along the way. That way, if you are planning on coming and trying the East Glacier Trail, it's a loop. Yeah, you'll know how to plan your day. If you're driving to Mendenhall Glacier from downtown, it's going to take about 19 minutes. 45 minutes if you're taking public transportation. And where you want to get off is right here if you're taking the bus. It's that stop right there. And then from there, it's just a short walk to the visitor center. As soon as you enter the Tongass National Rainforest, you're going to be met with the beautiful pond on your right. That down there is the visitor center if you keep going straight. But we're actually going to go down this way, a little bit further down from where that pond is. That's Glacier Spur Road. That's where the pond is that we just saw, right down there. And if you keep going, that's the visitor center. But we're actually going to enter the trail at this point here, and this is going to take you to the Trail of Time. So this is the trail, well, a map of the trail that we're going to be walking today. We are right here. So that's where the tour bus can park. That's where the two parking lots are. You can park like off the side of the road right here though. That's where I parked. And then you come over here. Oh, so many bikes are coming by. So this is the power line trail, an old power line that used to be here. And so that's where that ends. And then we came in right here. So that's gonna be where we start. This is the Trail of Time. I wanna do this trail because they have so many cool little landmarks here and just different tidbits of history that's really cool. And then we're going to be doing this loop trail, loop back around and then back over here to where the parking lot is. So I'm not going to do the visitor center or the nugget trails fall today. I'm going to do that tomorrow morning. But today I'm just going to be doing this, loop around and come back around. So as soon as you come into this trail, this is what you're going to find. Isn't that so cool? Look at that. So this used to be a power line area where they use the water to turn into power. You could even see, look at that, right in the forest there. That's like old remnants of what used to be power line. And check this out, right behind the sign. Isn't this so beautiful? Wow, like pristine, look at this. Holy cow, so beautiful. And then we're gonna walk along this trail right here. Okay, so as soon as you come through this area here, you're going to come across a staircase, and this is going to take you to the Trail of Time, which is going to take you to the East Glacier Loop Trail. Okay, so as soon as you get up those stairs and you come across these rocks here, these boulders, to prevent vehicles probably from coming through, because there's another set right down there at the beginning. That's right after you get up the stairs. Oh, sorry about that. Then you're gonna have this sign right here. So the East Glacier Trail takes about 3.5 miles. From here, it's gonna be about 2.5 hours. We are right here. So if you didn't want to go through that right there, the staircase and everything, then there is a area where you can walk in right here where we are. And these are different photo points, like landmarks. And then where's the East Loop Trail? Okay. So we're gonna walk this Trail of Time and then walk it all the way to the second point to the loop trail, walk that, and then walk back. That's my plan. And that's where you can enter. That's the second entry point to this Trail of Time. So you don't have to go that way. So you can come through there from that parking lot area that I showed you, or you can come through here, which is a lot easier. You don't have to go up the stairs or anything. And then this is the first photo point. We'll just do it all in one take. All right, so Out. Isn't that awesome? So this is a steel pipe that carried water down from the top there, from the Nugget Creek. Look at that. Isn't that so cool? And so this is the power line trail. This power line keeps going down. And so that's another trail, the power line trail that connects to the Trail of Time. But isn't that so cool? Holy cow. All right, let's go. This is actually just a start. It's about 5:40 right now. So we'll see how long it takes me if I can just stay on track and not ramble. Wow, isn't this so cool? So this is the first landmark, photo spot. But this area here, where we're standing, this was a parking lot. That's the trail right there. So it's right off the trail. You can't miss it. It's a little post right here, a little plaque, and you can barely read it, but it's still legible. If you wanted to, oh man, you know what? I'll take a picture and put it still there if anybody wants to actually read it. But yeah, isn't that incredible? This used to be a parking lot. So that's what's so fascinating to me. Believe it or not, this was all bare rock and ice just 100 years ago. So this was all covered in ice. Well, actually, yeah, 100 years, yeah, anyways. No, 100 years ago was 19... I'm sorry, I'm freaking fumbling so hard right now. Anyways, back in 1930, this was a parking lot. So maybe not right where we're standing, but back there when we start hiking further, it was all bare rock and ice, glacier ice. And just 100 years ago, in just 100 years, the glacier ice has receded, and all of this forest is like new forest. It's like the youngest part of the Tongass National Forest. And I think, no, I did research it. So the Tongass National Rainforest is actually one of the largest rainforests it is the largest rainforest in America. Shoot, man. Frick. I'm just gonna leave it all in. All right, guys, this is the third photo point. Presidential party visits glacier. So President Harding, and in 1923. That says 23. I feel so right now. I know I can Google it, but I'm in airplane mode right now. Anyways, I feel so ignorant. Who's President Harding? We had a President Harding in the United States. Holy cow, I'm such an idiot. Anyways, does anybody know his first name? I think they did this on purpose. Check this out. When you read it, it just keeps saying President Harding. It never mentions his first name, right? I was like, what is his first name? Who is President Harding? Even here, President and Mrs. Harding. What the? Anyways, let's get serious. Look at that. This is the point where he stood. He stood right here in 1923, right? Look at the scene. Look at the background. And this is what it looks like now. Isn't that incredible? You can't even see. From right here, you could see the glacier, you could see everything. The glacier was huge, you could see the mountains, but now it's all covered by forest in just 100 years, 102 years. Isn't that amazing? But this is the spot where he stood. And they took that picture. And this is the third point on the trail, right there, as you're walking. Just to keep an eye out for it. You can kind of miss it, it's right there. But I just think that that's fascinating. This is what it looked like in 1923, this is what it looks like now. Incredible. And somebody Google, who's President Harding? Can someone tell me what his first name is? Anyways, drop in the comments so I can feel less like an idiot next time I come here. I'm gonna bring somebody. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm taking him to that spot. I'm gonna ask him, what's his first name? I want to say, who is President Harding? What's his first name? Don't take your phone out. You know what I'm saying? You're not using your phone. And then I'm going to feel superior. I'm going to feel so fucking mighty and wise in front of that person. Belittle someone so I can feel... I'm just kidding. Okay, so after all that yapping, I've made it through 3 photo points. We are right here. I only wanted to mention that because right here is another access point. Right here is like a little smaller shortcut trail. So if you're doing this trail here and you didn't want to walk all the way around, there's a shortcut right here, and that is directly behind us right there. And that's the trail that goes down and kind of shortcuts, connects to that trail that loops around. So there we are right there. We're at the fourth, almost at the fourth photo point. We still have 3.5, it is unchanged. It's kind of like the washing I use sometimes. It'll just stay on 10 minutes on spin for 45 minutes. Anyways, yeah, nothing's changed. We still got 3.5 miles in 2.5 hours. Okay, anyways, oh, okay, so I want to show you this. Check this out. Water from a rock. Straight up Moses style. So in the 1930s, they used this area to drink water from. Look at that. Weary hikers drinking water would stop by this rock, this water rock, and it's right here. Check this out. And they would drink water. Isn't that amazing? It's still here. Look at that. That's where it would come out. Man, that's amazing. Isn't that cool? There's 3 holes. Well, of course there's 3 holes. I'm just kidding. There's 2 holes up there. So maybe water trickled down like that. I don't know. But that's the rock that water used to come out from. Look at that. There's like a well, kind of like a drinking well right there. That's so cool. A little selfie moment here with this drinking rock. Anyways, that's so cool, isn't it? So just 100 years ago, 1930, they made this drinking water rock. That's so cool. Check this out, guys. This was what is that? Shelter. There we go. So they built this shelter back in 1934, but there it is right there. Isn't that amazing? So this shelter here, that's what it looked like, and that was the view. You could actually see the mountain from here, and that's the view now. Isn't that amazing? Look at the difference. You could actually see like a waterfall right there. Look at that. That was you could see Nugget Falls from here. And now it's completely covered with forest. I just think that's incredible. Yeah, it looks like they definitely made some renovations to it. You could tell. They definitely fixed it up. And good for them. That's awesome. So hikers can take shelter if it starts to rain. And here in Juneau, you never know. It can just start raining out of nowhere. Oh my goodness. All right, safety tip, watch where you're going. I almost fell. When you're walking backwards, watch where you're going. And then this is something to keep in mind. This is a bear trail. So, you know, you want to give them space, all that, leash your dog. And so what I do, I have a bear spray with me. I have it clipped to my belt. So I carry bear spray with me. I have a knife, a buck knife that I have with me. But the 2 times that I've encountered bears, like literally walked up on the bear, just a few feet away from me, both times they looked right through me like I didn't even exist. I didn't matter to them at all. They just looked right through me and walked away. So just my personal experience here with the black bears, twice now I've run into black bears, and both times they just didn't care. They just didn't give a crap about me. They just looked right through me like I didn't exist, and they walked away. So maybe you might run into an aggressive bear, so I do carry bear spray with me. But just to give you a little peace of mind, nothing has ever happened that really scared me. I was scared. My whole body just froze, and I was so scared, but the bear just looked like, I don't even care, dude. Like, well, I don't care that you're here. I don't care that you exist. I'm doing my thing. I'm gonna go eat some more salmon. You know, like he didn't care. So I think this is pretty cool. Along the way, the rocks, they carved out the ice limit, like where the ice was in 1920. So this, where we're standing right now, where the ice was back in 1920. So I'm pointing at the rock. 1920, this is where the ice stopped. Isn't that incredible? And now, in just 100 years, all of this lush rainforest. It's incredible. It's just, you know, like, I can't even imagine it. Like where I'm rocking right now, because I just crossed the threshold. I just crossed that line. All of this, what you're seeing, all of this has grown within 100 years. This was not here 100 years ago. This was all under a glacier. Isn't that incredible? I just think it's fascinating. Sorry for the whiplash there. I'm new to this. So we're gonna keep walking along the trail. We're still not at that second entry point to the East Glacier Loop, but it's up ahead. Okay, here we are. We are now here. You'll see the little asterisk there. So it's not that bad. If I didn't do all that yapping and filming, I would have gotten here maybe within about 15 minutes or so. And so we are right here. This is what it looks like where it forks off. So we just back here where I showed you the ice limit, 1920. You walk a little bit further, this is what you're gonna see. All right, so if you keep walking here, it's gonna continue on to the visitor center. But if you look here to your right, it'll actually have a sign here. So this is gonna be the East Glacier Trail. We now have 3.5 miles from here, and that's the visitor center if you continue that way. And yeah, so that's why this wasn't changing. 3.5 miles, 2.5 hours. It was letting me know that that's how long it's gonna take for the East Glacier Trail, not from that first point where we saw that sign. I was like, why isn't it changing? Why isn't it going down? I'm walking all this way. But it's not talking about this walk here. It's talking about this loop here. That's gonna be 3.5 miles from this starting point, and it's gonna take about 2.5 hours. All right, let's go. It is 6 o'clock. So it took me about 20 minutes, but I'm pretty sure if I didn't stop by each point and film, then it probably would have taken about maybe 10 minutes, you know, half that time. So yeah, definitely doable. This is a pretty easy trail, mostly flat, mostly gravel. Even if you're not that healthy or you're not, you know, like an athlete or anything, you're not really used to hiking, this is a great trail to start on. There's so many interesting points of interest along the way. And as you can tell, it gets a little bit of an incline. There's a total of 650 feet elevation climb. And so that's not too bad. It's just like a slight incline. And you can take breaks as you need. It doesn't take too long. So here's the map. And this is the asterisk that's gonna let you know where you are. We are right here. So this is the loop. Wow. Okay, no wonder it takes 2.5 hours. Look at that. And then we're gonna come back down here. Okay, so if I don't die somewhere along the way, in about 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours with the filming along the way, I'll be back. So it's 6 o'clock now. Hopefully I'll be done with this trail by 9. Sun goes down around 10:30. So yeah, hopefully I don't get caught in the dark in the forest, because then I'm gonna pee my pants. this out, guys. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, there we go. That's pieces of the glacier that have broken off. They call it calving. When they hit the water, they make a huge splash. But isn't that amazing? There's another piece right there. Look at that. Pieces of the glacier just floating in the water. That's Mendenhall Lake. And that lake actually was completely covered in ice. That used to be part of the glacier. And as it receded, this lake formed. This is all glacier water. Isn't that amazing? So that's along the trail here. It's pretty much like one of the first or second areas where you actually get a clear open view. And it's not even that clear. You got trees along the way, but you can kind of see, you know, no, you really can't see the glacier from here. Yeah, but you used to be able to. This was all under ice just 100 years ago. And so this part of the trail, it is a little bit of an incline. There are, see that? So you just want to be careful. Watch your step. There's roots sticking out. See that? So, and you don't want to step on these roots because they can get very slippery, especially here in Juneau. It's been raining all week. It rains a lot, and even doesn't call for rain. Even when you check the forecast and it says it's going to be cloudy or sunny or partly cloudy all day long, still there's a chance that it could rain because we are in a rainforest. So I pack a light raincoat with me in my bag just in case. Let's keep going. Check this out, guys. These are called northern ground cones, and because they look like cones growing out of the ground. And aren't they so beautiful? The color is usually like purple and yellow, and it's just beautiful. But these, I'm not gonna pick it because we're in the national rainforest, but these you could pick. Just pull them up by their roots down here. You just wanna pull it up out of the ground. You rinse them really good, wash them, and dry them. And when you dry these and you make tea out of it, boil some hot water and put tea, make a tea out of it. My parents call them blue chol. That's actually where I learned about this. It's my parents, my mom and dad. In Korea, they're called blue chol. And well, that's what my parents call them, is blue chol. I was like, what is blue chol? Anyways, I took a picture and I had to do a Google image search, and I found out it's called northern ground cones. And if you dry them and make a tea out of them, it has so many health benefits. I'm not gonna make any claims. Look it up, Google it. Google the health benefits of northern ground cone tea and see what comes up. Like, it's incredible. I've been drinking it. My parents drink it, and it grows here plentifully in the northeast, but we're in the southeast part of Alaska. But anyways, yeah, you can find these, I think, anywhere from like Washington, Northern California, all the way up through Alaska. Yeah, incredible. They're so beautiful. And right now it's July 4th. So right now is actually the time to harvest them. If you don't, they wither and they turn really brown and nasty. I'm trying to see if I can find some that are already died. No, but hey, look at that. Some mushrooms. Isn't that so cool? I just find mushrooms so fascinating. Oh my goodness, look at that. There's a little baby one right there. Wow. I just think they're so like fascinating and magical, especially when you eat them. Anyways, no, I'm just kidding. Don't eat them. But yeah, I just think that it's just amazing how the rainforest just provides all of these things that are helpful to our body, literally like healing, herbs and things like that. You know what? Take a deep breath in the forest. This gentleman named Overton, he was an older man in his 80s. He told me once that lavender, for example, when you smell lavender, it helps like calm. It has these relaxing effects. He's saying that's just one of the scents that we detect, that we know about. But he's saying in the forest, there's so many things being emanated from the trees and the leaves and all these different smells that we don't even know we're smelling, that we can't detect. And he's saying that it has a healing effect on our body without us even knowing it. Japanese people call it forest bathing. They have a word for it. I don't know the Japanese word, but it translates to forest bathing. Literally bathing yourself, immersing yourself in the forest. This is why I feel like hiking is so therapeutic. Not only is it healthy, because you're getting exercise and activity, out here in nature, look at this. Wow. Just beautiful, incredible. So this water feeds down into that lake, the Mendenhall Lake. Wow, incredible. This is just so beautiful. Oh my goodness, guys. I just walked up on a porcupine. I hope he doesn't want to attack me. He's probably scared. Look at that. He just walked across the trail right in front of me and he's hiding under this rock. Oh my goodness, isn't that so cool? Please, Mr. Porcupine, I'm not gonna hurt you, don't hurt me. Look at him, he's like, look at side-eyeing me so hard. Hey man, oh, okay, good. Don't side-eye me. You're good, buddy. Isn't that so amazing? This is a smaller one. I've seen porcupines that are huge, bigger than dogs. Well, maybe that's the size of a dog, like a medium-sized dog. Wow. That is so cool. I love running into wild animals like that. Just wildlife and nature. Wow. He literally walked across the trail here. And I was just like, oh my God, what is that? And then went under that rock to hide. All right, coast is clear. Let's continue. So there was this giant boulder in the way, right, just laying right there in the middle of the trail. So I lifted it up for you guys, this giant boulder. So it's out the way. The trail is clear now. I'm saying I'm sweating a little bit because the boulder, look how big it is. Holy cow, this is huge, giant boulder. Just right on the trail, right in the middle of the trail. What would people have done? They can't climb over this, that's dangerous. So I just lifted it up with one hand like that. Boom, just like that. Okay, like that. Boom, like that. And I lifted it up off the trail. Took a lot out of me. You're welcome. I'm here to help. I'm here. Okay, here's something unexpected along the way. It's called AJ Falls. So as you're walking this East Glacier Loop Trail, there's a little wooden sign here that says AJ Falls. You can barely make it out. It's deteriorated a lot, but it says right down here. So I'm gonna go off the trail, but I wouldn't suggest going off trail on an unmarked trail, especially if you're a tourist, you know, or you're new to hiking. I'm only going off the trail, off that main trail, because this is another, you know, marked trail. It says it's to AJ Falls. So yeah, I was only aware of the Nugget Falls, so this is gonna be cool. Oh yeah, no, actually I remember. I remember. I saw this before. I came here once before. Okay, last year when I was hiking a lot last year. Yes, this is beautiful. Check this. So it's a little wet coming in, but look at that. Oh, beautiful. And it's just right off the trail. Wow, that is beautiful. You can walk right up there if you wanted to. I don't want to, but you can. Just showing you where you can do that if you want to. I've taken enough slips and falls on wet, slippery rocks where, yeah, I'm all right. I'm good. You can go up on the rocks and look if you want. But that's where it is. Wow, just right off the trail here. Literally just right there where the sign is. You walk in, the waterfalls is right behind me. Awesome. So along the walk, yeah, come off the trail just a little bit and check this photo point out. It's called AJ Falls. Okay, as soon as you come out from AJ Falls, you're gonna be trail. And so this part of the trail gets a little tough, you know, just if you're elderly or if you have, you know, issues with mobility, joint, hip issues, things like that. Just be aware, this part of the trail is gonna wind like this and you're walking over rocks. So just be careful and watch your step. Try not to step directly on the rocks because like that one right there, you can even tell it looks slick. You can step on that and lose your balance and slip very easily. So just want to kind of avoid the rocks, step on them gently, and just be careful in this part of the trail. See that? And it's like switchbacks. It just keeps wrapping around on itself, and there's a bit of an incline. So the 650 feet elevation, so it's not too bad, but you know, just so you're prepared. It is pretty easy coming in, and then as you come into as you start going into the loop where it starts to get that curve, it's going to start to get a little bit I wouldn't say difficult, I would say moderate. You know, it's not an easy walk, but it's not difficult either. It's like, you know, like if you're in decent shape, you can do it. It's even if you're not in decent shape, if you just stop and take breaks, it's totally doable. So after you clear a bunch of switchbacks that just keep winding back on each other, lots of rocks, lots of roots, you want to be careful along that route. You come here, and that's the trail right there. It continues on. But just here, just off the trail, you have this beautiful lake up in the mountains. Isn't that amazing? Look at that view. Just incredible, just beautiful. Look at this lake. The reflection off the lake. Man, you can totally see where Bob Ross got his inspiration for it. Wow, this is a perfect spot to take a break and drink some water, eat some snacks. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Yeah, to sit right here. I'm just gonna sit right here, enjoy this beautiful scenery in front of me, and take a sip of water, eat some snacks, continue on the trail. I've been hiking for about 45 minutes now, so I have probably about an hour and 45 minutes, maybe 2 hours left to go to complete this trail. And yeah, let's take a quick break. Okay. All right, this section here, it's a little bit more dangerous. Not too dangerous because you have this railing here to protect you, but just be aware that there's this, you know, big cliff like rock, and we're going to be going around. Just use the guard rails to your advantage. There's Mendenhall Lake down there, and we're just going to go up and over. Be careful of the rocks, because up here, even though we're high up, water's constantly trickling down, and it's keeping these rocks wet and slick. So just be careful where you're stepping. It's so easy to twist an ankle, slip and fall, and then you're here in the middle of the hike. You know, it's going to take another 45 minutes to get back that way. It's going to take another hour or two to go this way, you know. So like, it's not a good place to get injured, especially if you're hiking alone. I know that's a big concern. That's one of my biggest concerns, is hiking alone and getting injured. So you want to take all the precautions necessary and just watch, you know, make sure you're constantly situationally aware. And isn't that beautiful? Wow, that's a postcard right there. Wow. Anyways, yeah, see, we're wrapping around this giant cliff rock along the railing here, and see right there, you just want to be careful. You know, step like in between the rocks, make sure you got a good footing, and you don't want to take long strides like you're walking. You want to almost like you're marching. Keep your feet under your shoulders, bend your knees, and almost like you're marching, especially when you're going uphill, especially when you're stepping on rocks that are, you know, slick and jagged. Almost like you're marching. March up the hill. Don't stride. Don't take, you know, strides, regular walking steps. You want to almost like you're marching in place. Anyways, hope that helps. Okay guys, it looks like we made it right to the halfway point. We're right here. So this is where the East Glacier Trail loops around, and then it connects to this Nugget Creek Trail, but it says it's not maintained. And then you got a bunch of stairs right here that you got to go through along the trail. So we're at about the halfway point. It took me about 50 minutes. It's about 6:50 right now. I started right here at 6 o'clock. So it took me about 50 minutes here, and that was with me stopping at each point and filming. And I took two water breaks. I took 2 AJ Falls, and then another little lake or something right here, right about here maybe. And then, so I took 2 breaks. It took me 50 minutes with the filming, and now we're at the halfway point. So probably will take another 50 minutes or so to get down here, another hour. So I think the 2.5 hour time frame, it gives you plenty of time to walk it and stop and take breaks and take pictures. I think 2.5 hours is a good amount of time. But I'm not going to walk this trail here because it's not maintained. I'm going to continue on here, the East Glacier Trail, and that's the Nugget Creek Trail. That's the trail that's not maintained that we saw on the map that goes to Nugget Creek, and there's a sign for it right there. And then this is where you want to go if you want to continue the East Glacier Trail. So there's a sign right here, East Glacier Trail. We came from here, came up, and now we're going to continue this way. We're not going to go that way to Nugget Creek Trail because that's not maintained. I might go on that trail another day just so we know what to expect if you do go that way. But just for time's sake, I'm going to stick to the East Glacier Trail today, the East Glacier Loop, and we're going to continue on that way. And as you can see, lots of incline, lots of stairs, rocks, roots sticking out. So this part of the trail, a little bit more physically demanding, but I think even if you're in your 50s or 60s, this is still a totally doable trail. As long as you take breaks, bring some water, bring snacks, make sure you get plenty of rest the day before, eat something, get some protein, get some energy in you before you start the hike in the morning. Just eat something really healthy in the morning, and that way you'll be energized. And as long as you take breaks and take it easy, march instead of taking long strides and walking. Marching is much better on your knees, your joints, and also keeps you safer. Keeps your center of balance there, so that even if you do step on a slippery rock, you're not taking a long stride forward where your momentum's going forward and you slip back. That won't happen as much if you're marching in place. I mean, not marching in place, but taking marching steps, almost like you're bouncing. Keep your feet right under your shoulders, use your knees, and we're gonna march up instead of walking. So see, for example, I'm not gonna take a big stride like this. I'm not gonna take a big stride and go forward. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk like this, marching up these stairs, taking smaller steps, marching. See, even though I stepped on that rock, because I'm not stepping on it with my heel, with my weight forward, see that I almost slipped right there. See that's how you can slip. So you don't want to take long strides forward. You want to set your foot right under your shoulder, next foot up, like that. Because this is, the goal is not to get to the end of the trail as fast as possible, unless that is your goal, unless you're running. But if you're just out here to enjoy nature, soak in the forest, just center yourself, have a relaxing day with a little bit of physical activity, then why rush it? You just take your time, march instead of taking long strides, and that way you keep yourself safe. It's also less strenuous on your joints, on your knees. A lot of people complain about their legs and their feet, their ankles hurting the next day after a long walk, after a long hike, and it's because they're walking, they're taking long strides. And yeah, if you do that, you are putting a lot of weight on that. As you step forward like that, and your knees are not bent, then you're putting all that strain on that knee. So instead you want to bend your knees and walk like that. So that way you're using your muscles and not your joints. Anyways, okay. So here, scenic overlook that goes right there. So this is the trail, it keeps going on that way, and there's a scenic overlook right there. So because it is marked, I'm gonna go down there. Okay, so after walking just a few minutes from that point off the trail, This, it looks like this is the lookout area, the overview area. And it just seems like because of all the new growth, all the new forests that grew over the years, you don't get a clear view of the glacier anymore. So this is the view. Everything's just grown. So you don't really even get a clear view of the lake. So yeah, in my is this point worth the extra few minutes of walking? Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful, you know, and it's just a few minutes off the trail, the main trail. So yeah, maybe. But if you're looking at a breathtaking shot, unfortunately, because of all the trees and everything that's grown over the years, it's covered the glacier and the Nugget Falls that's right there. So can't really see much. Yeah, let me see if I go over to the edge. Maybe we can see a little bit. Nah, you can hear it. Nugget Falls is right there. The Nugget Creek that makes Nugget Falls. You can hear it, but you can't see it because of all the trees that have grown. But it's still a pretty nice shot here. If you wanted to stop by and take a picture or a selfie, look at that. Not bad, right? So yeah, if you want to, it's like maybe 3 to 5 minutes off the trail, and this is that scenic point right here. Check out this cable line, this old cable line that goes across. Look at that. And that's how they transported stuff, like the things that they needed across here back when they were using this as a power line for using the water to make power. But anyways, isn't that cool? Like a bit of history right here along the trail. So there's that cable right there. It goes in here, and then right here you can see like remnants of like old parts that they used. Zoom in a little bit. Look at that. Isn't that so cool? Just sitting here for about 100 years, and back when they used to use that cable to transport things across. Oh, there it is. You can't really see it. Can't really see it anymore, but yeah, the cable's right there, and it goes across here, and then it comes out right there. You can see it. All right, so now we've got to the stair section. So as you come here along the trail, you're gonna come across the series of stairs leading down. So this is the area on the map where all that red line of stairs, this is it. Still, you don't want to just walk right down these, because these are all wood, and wood gets slick when it's wet. So again, take your time, one step at a time. Keep your feet under your shoulders, center of balance, like that, because you don't want to take a slip and fall on these stairs, because we still have about an hour to go to finish the walk. Clearly, like around that loop area where the stairs are. So it's too far to turn back now, because now it's going to be further to walk back, and we still got about 45 minutes to go. So you really stairs, see, it goes all the way down. Going downhill sometimes, because going uphill is hard, because you know you're lifting your body weight and it takes more energy. So going downhill is much easier, but it's also more dangerous, because you're going down, your momentum, your center of balance is all going down. So this is especially where you don't want to take long strides. You don't want to walk down like that, because you're gonna slip. So especially downhill, take smaller steps, and as if you're marching, keep your knees bent, you know, keep your feet under your shoulders. And that's especially true with wet wooden stairs. All right, looks like we just reached the end of the staircase. This is gonna connect back to the trail, but that was a lot of stairs. Look at that. I'm gonna zoom in all the way up. That was a lot of stairs, dude, for real. So just be prepared. Good thing I came the back way and I'm coming down these stairs, because if I had all these stairs, dude, my glutes would be cooked. You know what I'm saying? By the time I get up to the top, like stick a fork in me, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Wow, what a spectacular view of Mendenhall Lake. That's the visitor center down there. I'm not sure if you can see it. There we go. Right there in the center of the screen. That's the visitor center down there. And we are all the way up here. Amazing. This is just a spectacular view. So this part of the trail is another part where it's going to be a little bit not really dangerous because they have these railings here to stop you from falling. Just be careful, these rocks sticking out. Just watch your step. And this is immediately as you come out of like the densely forested area. You come out here, you'll see this opening and you're just treated to this spectacular view. Just incredible. Wow. All right, let's keep going. So as you come down the part of the trail that has this rail here on the side, just be careful because there's constantly always water trickling down the mountain. As you can see here, it's just beautiful, isn't it? But it's also dangerous because now it's making all of these rocks slick. You can see there's water all along flowing down there. So it's good to have boots. Mine aren't waterproof, but it's not a lot of water, so I can step around it. But yeah, just be aware that when you go on this trail, even if it's not raining, even if it's a sunny day, prepare for wet, slick rocks on the ground because there's always water on the mountain and coming down along the trail. So just be aware of that. So this area that I just came down, it's a little sketch. Rocks, jagged rocks sticking out the whole way, and just water the whole way down. See, there's more water trickling down here, and then they have these wooden logs here, but you don't want to step on them because they're very slick and slippery. I mean, if you just lose your balance a little bit, you're gonna fall, and that's not going to be very fun. So just be careful here. Just be aware that there are these logs. You want to step over them, not on them, and march up if you're going that way. If you're coming down, same thing, march downhill, and you won't slip and fall because it is risky there, you know. So just wanted to make sure people are if you are walking this trail, it's gonna have water trickling down over these slick rocks. See how these rocks stick out, these jagged rocks. So if you're not watching and you're not paying attention, see there's a drop right here. You could totally see how I step sideways. You want to step sideways and use your knees to bend down and go down that way like that. And the reason why I'm stressing being extra careful, I'm hiking alone and I don't want to take a hard fall. And same thing with others who are hiking alone. I think that's one of the biggest fears, is getting injured alone out in the trail. So you want to just be as careful as possible, be aware of your surroundings, and just take your time and march. Because here's the thing, if you put pressure on your muscles, over time, if you're marching like this, you're putting a lot of pressure on your thighs, your calves, you're working your muscles. So if you do that, over time, your muscles will get stronger. You put pressure on your muscles, over time, they do get stronger. But your joints, on the other hand, like your knees and your ankles, if you put pressure on your joints, over time, they deteriorate, they get weaker. So you want to use your muscles, not your joints. You want to put pressure on your muscles, not your joints. So that's why you want to keep your feet placed right directly under your shoulders and take like marching steps and keep your knees bent. That way, not only going to stay safe, but you're going to keep your body feeling better, so you're not aching and sore, especially if you have arthritis. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful how the water just cascades down those ridges along the mountain? It's just so beautiful. And then it keeps going down the mountain. And then that's directly after you come down these stairs, these set of stairs here. Wow, there's the first view of the glacier. Look at that. Now we can actually see the glacier. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Look at that. Okay, so as you come down these stairs, you'll get a first glimpse of the glacier right there. And you just want to be careful because there is water flowing down the mountain here, cascading down. And right there, you're gonna have to cross that point there, but it's not too bad. You just step right over it. And just be careful, watch your step. You don't wanna take a long stride here. You don't wanna go like this, you know, with your knees straight and step on that, because there's a likelihood you're gonna slip and just take a fall like that. And you might do the splits. So you wanna step here and then lift your knee, step, step, like that. And then even up the stairs, step, 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 step. You don't want to like take, you know, anyways, I've been home. Hopefully you get it, but it's for safety and comfort. And now we're going to be going down this area here. All right, let's do this. Wow, here's a cool little spot. Okay, so as you're coming back down, just be careful. Lots of rocks, lots of water, but just be careful coming down this part of the trail. But it continues down this way. See, it comes down here and then you go down that way. But just right here, it looks like there's a lookout point. Let's see what the view is like. Wow. Incredible. Just be careful because there's nothing to stop your fall. If you lose your balance and fall here, you're going to go tumble down. So just be careful. Side step, step sideways. There we go. Beautiful. Wow. No wonder they call this God's country. Just majestic, right? Wow. Beautiful. All right. Oh, whoa, whoa. I almost lost my balance. That was scary. Okay, let's go back on the trail. So this is where you come down. That's where the trail continues. And right here, there's a point where you can just sit down, take a break, enjoy a snack, and just enjoy the view. Just soak it in. Wow, this is unusual. So remember the northern ground cones that I was talking to you about earlier in the video? So I've never seen them growing off of a rock before. Usually when my parents and I go, we go to an area where there's a lot of, what do they call those? Cedar trees, or no, birch trees. Anyways, there's a certain type of trees that they grow next to, because these are actually like, what do they call that? Like parasitic plant. It's not really a fungus. It's not really a plant. These live off of the tree roots. It shares the nutrients from the trees that they grow next to. So that's why this is so unusual, seeing it growing off of a rock like this. That's pretty cool. I gotta tell my mom about this. Wow, ground cones, blucho, as my mom would call it, growing out of a rock instead of next to a tree. That is interesting. Wow. I'm not sure if the mic is going to pick it up, but if you can hear, there's birds singing in the background. And I know the thought of hiking alone is intimidating sometimes and scary. I don't really like to hike alone sometimes because it does get a little intimidating and scary, and like, you know, you might run upon a bear or some dangerous person or something like that, but that's actually not the case. In real life, hiking is actually pretty safe, and people who walk by, they're usually just minding their own business and enjoying their own hike. No one really bothers you. If you run into anybody, you usually don't, but if you do, they're just minding their own business and they just walk right by. So usually the threat of other people bothering you is not really, there's not really a chance of that, because most people who go hiking, they're usually down to earth, cool, chill people, you know? So you're usually not going to get attacked during a hike. And also the wildlife, the bears and everything, they usually leave you alone in most cases, but I do carry bear spray just in case. But yeah, I just wanted to point out the bird song, because when you go hiking and you hear the birds singing, I read somewhere that it does something to your nervous system. It calms you down, because a long time ago when the birds were singing, our ancestors knew it was safe. There's no predators around. When the forest gets quiet, that's when you know you got to be on guard. But when the birds are singing, it calms your nervous system. It lets you know everything's okay. And so that's why I think coming out to hike whenever you have time, even if you don't have anyone to hike with, just getting out here into the forest, not only are you getting all the different scents, the aroma of the forest that's healing you, literally healing properties as you breathe the forest air, but also the song, the singing of the birds. It calms you down, it quiets your mind, you know, it settles your soul. And so that's why I wanted to make this channel, because the biggest challenge is finding someone to hike with, right? Matching up schedules. And also sometimes when you have a day off and you want to go hiking, the weather doesn't work with you, you know, it's raining or something. But I wanted to just make this channel to help encourage people and show the reality of the hike. It's a lot of times it's boring. Honestly, that's why I'm starting this YouTube channel. Another reason, because it's going to help me feel less bored along these stretches where it's just walking on a trail in the forest. Sometimes, you know, you feel a little lonely, you feel a little bored. So this is helping me, just sharing what you can expect on the trails so you're better prepared if you want to ever do this hike. But also to encourage people, to show that it's not really that scary and it's not really that intimidating. As long as you stay safe, you know, prepare ahead of time, have water, have snacks, a light raincoat, wear some, you know, sturdy shoes, yeah, and just be aware of your surroundings. You know, hiking is actually one of the safest activities you can do. All right, guys, so we are now here. So we made it all the way around this loop. What was that? Stair stacks, switchbacks. We made it across all those switchbacks. And then around here, that was where the long series of staircases that go down. So if you wanted to go this way, just be aware that you're gonna be going up those stairs instead of down. So, but if you're gonna go from this entry point where we started, then you're gonna hit these switchbacks first. And then as you go around those staircases, you're gonna be going down the stairs. And then we made it all the way across here, and now we are back here. And that's gonna be where it connects back to the Trail of Time. So then we're gonna walk back here and then go back to the parking area. And that's that cabin that we walked by earlier. And that's that trail, the Trail of Time, that's going to lead us back to the parking lot. So we're pretty much all done with that East Glacier Loop Trail, and it is 7:55. I started at 6 o'clock, so it took about 2 hours, an hour and 55 minutes, and that was with 2 water breaks and filming along the way, and still only 2 hours to finish that loop. And I wasn't going at a very fast pace either. I was kind of just, you know, a moderate pace. So 2.5 hour time frame, I think is generous. You know, it's totally doable in 2.5 hours. Even if you're going at a slow pace, I think 2.5 hours is plenty of time. So if you are getting off the cruise ship and you're coming here, you want to try this East Glacier Trail, just give yourself about 2 to 2.5 hours to complete this loop, and then like another 20-30 minutes to do that trail back to the parking lot to your car, or to the bus. Actually, if you're coming off the cruise ship, you're probably on the tour bus and you have to go back to the visitor center parking lot. So instead of going that way, back down the Trail of Time where we came in, you're gonna turn and go back down that way. And that way, that'll take you to the visitor center. That's that cabin there that they rebuilt. And you're gonna go down that way to the visitor center. So, and then you can tour bus, get back to your cruise ship. I'm not sure. Sometimes people tell me that they have 4 hours. Sometimes people they tell me they only have 3 hours. So if you only have 3-4 hours, just plan to start the trail as soon as possible. And then if you do this loop, it's going to be about 2 hours, 2 to 2.5 hours. So yeah, if you only have 3 hours, that might be cutting it close. So I wouldn't recommend this trail if you only have 3 hours off the cruise, you know, when you have to get back on the cruise ship. If you have about 4 to 5 hours or more, then yes, this is plenty of time. That's plenty of time to do this trail, because it's going to take you about 2.5 hours. And I would say with travel time and everything, give yourself about 3.5 hours to get yourself back downtown to where the cruise ships are. And so yeah, so travel time, walking time included, I would say 3.5 hours would give you plenty of time. All right, so now we're back here at this point where I told you could start the trail here, but we're gonna go down that way and start the trail on the other entry point. So we're back at this area here, right here on the map. So now we're gonna walk back down this trail of time, back to the parking lot, and then go down here. So this is gonna be the area where we get out and go to the parking lot. So we're gonna walk all the way back down there, and that's actually only like a maybe 15-20 minute walk. It's not too bad. But if you're actually going back to the tour bus to get back on the cruise ship, that's when you're gonna go this way back to the visitor center. So hopefully that was helpful. I just want to take another look at this before we go, because I just think it's incredible. So this picture was taken in 1938, between 1938 and 1940. This is what this spot looked like. And now when you look at it, it's a completely different landscape. Isn't that crazy? That's what it looked like. Wow, just about 100 years ago. Yeah, and then it says right here, what will this area look like in another 50 years? You know, can you imagine? Wow, this is all gonna be even more grown over. Wow. So now we're gonna walk back down this way. There's a sign that we saw at first, right here, the East Glacier Trail. You can go through here. Just be prepared to go up the stairs with that long series of stairs. Or you can continue down this way and go in that second entry point, and then you'll come back down this way. And then we're gonna walk back down this way. The visitor center is that way, but we're gonna walk back down this way because I parked down there. Wow, let's get one more shot of this waterfall. Just beautiful. Wow, look at that. Just the power and the beauty of nature. Incredible. Alrighty, and then that's where the glacier is, but we can't see it through all the forest growth. There we go. See here, this is what I'm talking about. These northern ground cones, they usually grow around trees like this because they get all their nutrients from the roots of the trees. So they're living off of the trees, off of the roots. But it's really interesting that we saw, oh, see, this is what they look like when they're too old. See, they kind of dry and shriveled up. So you don't want to pick these. These are no good. You want to pick them when they're fresh like this. And see, they're directly next to this tree because they're feeding off the tree's roots. Aren't they so beautiful? And when you dry them out, they and when you put them in boiling water, it has a very interesting flavor. It's a little bitter, but it's super healthy for you. It has so many health benefits. But yeah, they live right next to trees because they're feeding off the tree's roots. So that's why I'm gonna ask my mom, like, have you ever seen them growing off of rocks before? Like, that was interesting. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on my hike on the East Glacier Trail here at the Mendenhall Glacier. I really appreciate it. It's helped me feel less lonely on my walks. And so I really appreciate you watching. But also, I hope that this was helpful. Hopefully, if you are planning on coming to Mendenhall Glacier in Juneau and you are thinking about doing the East Glacier Trail, hopefully this will help you prepare better and you know what to expect. I would say level of difficulty would be moderate. It's not a easy trail where, like, if you have health conditions, if you have arthritis, if you're in a wheelchair or in crutches or something like that, if you have limited mobility, then this is probably not a good trail to walk. Just because there are those switchbacks, there's all those stairs and just slippery areas where you're going up or down the hill. So I would say that if you have physical limitations, probably not a good trail to do. Also, if you have limited time, it is going to take about 2.5 hours to complete the trail. And then you got to consider the travel time back and forth. But if you're in decent shape, you know, if you can walk and you don't really have health conditions that will stop you from, you know, going on a walk, then this is a totally manageable trail. Even if you're into your 60s or 70s, I think as long as you take it slow and take breaks, you can totally do this trail within 2 to 3 hours. So hopefully this helps. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna be doing the Nugget Falls Trail next. That way, if you are limited on time, then the Nugget Falls Trails only takes about an hour round trip. So I'm gonna do the Nugget Falls Trail next and show you the Nugget Falls. And from the Nugget Falls, you actually get a beautiful, spectacular view of Mendenhall Glacier. So I'm gonna do that next. And then drop in the comments, what trails would you like to see next? If you have walked this trail before, share your experiences. If you have ideas for other trails you would like to see next, let me know in the comments and I'll do those trails next. But anyways, thank you guys so much. I hope this was helpful and we'll see you next time.